Good evening and welcome to the March 25th, 2025 Council and Planning Public Meeting. Members of the public may watch and or participate in this open meeting using any following methods. You can attend in person in the Dumfries room at the North Dumfries Community Complex located at 2958 Greenfield Road. You can also attend electronically to observe the meeting and or to speak to an item on the agenda by registering with the Clerk's Division. You can watch the live stream by accessing the meeting on the Township's YouTube page. The live stream is for viewing only and not for direct participation. And submitted written comments that were given to the clerk in advance of the meeting were provided to the mayor and council prior to the meeting and will form part of the official record. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and thank everyone for joining us this evening. We appreciate your participation. As we come together to serve the community, I ask that we create a welcoming, positive environment for everyone, and that includes respect, that we listen to each other with care, speak thoughtfully, and engage kindly to one another. Kindness, that we treat everyone, council, staff, and the public, with respect and understanding. Inclusion, that we embrace diverse perspectives and respect each other's opinions. Together, we can make this meeting space one where respect, kindness, and inclusion are at the heart of everything we do. Behavior that is disrespectful, disruptive, aggressive, or intimidating will result in those individuals being asked to leave. I'd like to now call the meeting to order and can I have the agenda, please, Councilor Rossiter.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Tilly, that council adopt the March 2025 council planning public meeting agenda as presented with the following addendum. Add correspondence received for item 652, report number PD 19-2025. Minor variance application for 61 Water Street, file number A-0325.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. I'd now like to do the Indigenous Day acknowledgement. We acknowledge that the land on which we gather today is the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee, the Anishinaabe, and Neutral people. We acknowledge the enduring presence of the Indigenous people with whom we share this land today, their achievements and their contributions to our community. We offer this acknowledgement as an act of reconciliation between Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples of Canada. And when I read the preamble about inclusion, kindness, and respect, things that we all have to remember to live that way as best we can. Because that's what got us in the mess in the first place. We didn't respect the Indigenous people. They respected us when we first landed, when our ancestors landed on this property. They respected us, they welcomed us, and we abused that respect. And now, generations later, we can make it better. And we can respect one another with dignity and with honesty. And hopefully we will evolve. Let's just reflect on that for a moment. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of the hearing interest to adjourn later thereof? Seeing none. Committee of Adjustment, so we need a motion to go into Committee of Adjustment. Councilor Tilly, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Ossner, the council meeting being adjourned at 6:03 p.m. to sit as Committee of Adjustment for purposes of holding public meetings pursuant to the provisions of the Planning Act.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. I now approval of the agenda, please, Councilor Rowland.
Moved by myself, by Councilor Williams, that committee adopt the March 25th, 2025 committee adjustment agenda as presented.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest? Councilor Rowland.
I had one for item 6.5.1, the minor variance application for 1143 Maple Minor Road.
Thank you. So noted. And approval of previous minutes, Councilor Williams.
Moved by myself and by Rod Rowland, the Committee of Adjustment approved the meeting minutes dated February 25, 2025.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. All right. So, hearing public meeting, minor variance consent application, report number. Oh, is this the one that? Council Williams, you're out of here. Okay. 6.5.1, report number BD 18/2025, minor variance application for 1143 Maple Meadow Road, file number K-02/25. Is there a sign sheet?
Yes.
There is a sign sheet at the back of whichever application file you're here, so make sure you sign it so that you can be, information coming forward will get sent to you for any future meetings or whatever. Okay, so notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all persons who provide comments on this application and those who registered with the Clerk's Department to request a notice of decision. Those individuals will be notified of the decision and the convening of future meetings on this application. There's a sign-in sheet at the table at the back of the meeting room to complete, for those that wish to future notice related to this file. Christina Blasiovic, planner, one GIS technician, will present this application. Christina, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The following presentation is for minor variance application A02/25 for the property located at 1143 Maple Manor Road. The purpose of this meeting is to provide an overview of the proposal, to solicit comments, and identify issues or matters to be assessed by staff. The property is located on the south side of Maple Manor Road, west of the intersection of Maple Manor Road and Misty Maple Trail in the Ranchland Settlement area. This property consists of a single detached dwelling and accessory buildings. Property is approximately 1.1 acres in size with a lot frontage of 30.7 meters onto Maple Manor Road, and surrounding land uses are primarily rural residential. This property is zoned 1 agriculture as well as zone 2A rural residential, and is designated settlement residential and ancillary in the township official plan. The owner proposes to facilitate the construction of a 2-story detached garage in the rear yard of the subject property. The garage will be 9.14 meters by 12.19 meters in size with a total area of 111.48 square meters. The first story of the proposed accessory building will consist of a 2-car garage, and the second story is proposed to be utilized as additional storage space for yard equipment, tools, and similar items. The proposed garage will have a building height of 6.24 meters. Currently, the property includes 4 accessory buildings, 3 similarly sized sheds, and 1 pool shed. With the addition of the proposed detached garage, the total lot coverage for all accessory buildings will exceed the permitted maximum of 3%. To address this, the owner plans to remove the existing sheds identified with exits on the screen once the new garage is complete. The adjustment will leave only the pool shed and the new accessory building, resulting in a total lot coverage of approximately 2.5%, which complies with the permitted maximum. The owner is requesting the following minor variances. Section 6.4.7 of the general zoning bylaw establishes that no accessory building shall exceed 5.2 meters in height. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit an accessory building height of 6.24 meters. In section 8.3.7b permits a maximum accessory building height of 5.2 meters. Again, the owner seeks relief from this provision to permit an accessory building height of 6.24 meters. The photo on the screen is a view of the rear yard of the subject property. The approximate location of the detached garage is highlighted in green towards the rear yard. And the existing accessory buildings identified in image are proposed to be removed. No correspondence has been received from any members of the public at this time. There have been no concerns received from any agencies. The Township's engineering department is requesting a grading plan to confirm any additional drainage from the proposed development will be mitigated on site. Planning staff are still awaiting some additional comments from other agencies. Staff recommends that all comments and correspondence received from the members of the public and government agencies through the consultation process be returned to staff for a future report to the committee on the disposition of this matter. Staff will be considering matters including all comments and correspondence received, whether the development meets the criteria of the 4 tests, and further review of the grading around the proposed development. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. I believe, the applicant wanted to speak.
She's on Zoom.
He's available. Okay, so just questions, would you like to speak, Ron?
No, I have no questions or comments at this time.
Thank you. Anyone from the public wish to speak on this item? Councilors? Seeing none, can I have a motion, please, Councillor Lawson?
Moved by myself, seconded by Scott Tilley, that report PD 18-2025 be received. And that all comments and correspondence received through the consultation process be returned to staff for consideration in the future report to the committee on the disposition of this matter.
All those in favor? Carried, thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Something interesting on the thing?
Yeah, just put it in there again.
Did it maybe out?
Yeah. Throw it back in there.
Next is 6.5.2, report number PD 19-2025, a minor variance application for 61 Water Street, file number A-03/25. Notice has been given in accordance with the Planning Act. The Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all persons who provide comments on this application and those who register with the Clerk's Department to request a notice of decision. Those individuals will be notified of the decision of the order convening of future meetings on this application. There is a sign-in sheet on the table at the back of the meeting room to complete for those that wish future notice related to this file. Michael Campos, Manager of Planning, will present this application. Michael, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The following presentation is for minor variance application A0325 for the property located at 61 Water Street. Purpose of this meeting is to provide an overview of the proposal, to solicit comments and to identify issues or matters to be assessed by staff. The property is located south of the intersection of Water Street and Colonial Drive in the urban village of Ayr. The property is constructed with a single detached dwelling and has an area of approximately 1,900 square meters, with a lot frontage of 37.7 meters onto Water Street and 40.2 meters frontage onto Colonial Drive. Surrounding land uses are primarily urban residential. The property is zoned Z4 urban residential and designated urban residential and ancillary in the township official plan. Purpose of the proposed minor variance application is to facilitate the construction of a coach house in a single-story accessory building within the side yard of the subject property. The accessory building will include a detached garage with the proposed coach house attached to the rear of the new garage structure. The proposed accessory garage will be 8.99 meters by 11.16 meters in size, with a total area of approximately 99.85 square meters. It's approximately just over 1,000 square feet. The proposed coach house is irregularly shaped and will have a total area of approximately 96.94 square meters, or just over 1,000 square feet as well. The building height of the proposed coach house will not exceed the building height of the principal dwelling. And the principal dwelling unit has a building footprint of approximately 136.18 square meters, or about 1,465 square feet. The proposed coach house is permitted to be 40% of this size, which is approximately 54.47 square meters, or approximately 586 square feet. The owner is requesting variance to exceed the size limit. The combined area of the proposed coach house and the accessory garage is approximately 200 square meters, excluding the covered porch of the coach house. A new driveway from Water Street is also proposed to access the proposed development. Following the issuance of the notice of public meeting, additional information has been reviewed by staff and resolved as submitted agency comments. Initially, the property was identified as having a small portion zoned for floodplain, the Z4F zone, as shown in the image on the screen. The portion of the property zoned as floodplain is located along the rear of the property. However, through the submitted circulation comments, the Grand River Conservation Authority has confirmed that this area is not classified as a floodplain. And upon further review, township staff determined that this zoning was likely an historical mapping error, and the property should be entirely zoned urban residential Z4 with no floodplain zoning applied. The floodplain zoning prevents the applicant from developing within the floodplain zone without an amendment to the zoning bylaw. And so with the clarification from the GRCA and the identified mapping error, the applicant intends to shift the development back to align with the existing building line setback. They are currently reviewing this information and will be amending their proposal after the public meeting. And as a result, fewer variances may be needed, and planning staff will assess these changes before finalizing a recommendation brought forward back to committee. Staff will work to correct the mapping error as part of the future housekeeping amendment to the zoning bylaw. At this time, the owner is requesting the following minor variances. Section 6.4.1 of general zoning bylaw establishes that no accessory building may be erected between any building lines established by this bylaw. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the proposed detached garage to be located in front of the principal dwelling within the established building line. And as I mentioned, the owner is looking at shifting that behind the established building line, so this may be removed. Section 6.4.6 establishes that the total lot coverage of all accessory buildings for zone 4 shall not exceed a maximum floor area of 60 square meters as provided in subsection 8.3. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit a maximum lot coverage of 200 square meters. Section 6.4.8 establishes that in zone 4, no accessory building shall be located so that any part or parts of said accessory building is closer to the street line than the front wall of the principal dwelling. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit the proposed detached garage to be located closer to the street line than the principal dwelling. Section 6.40.7 permits a maximum enclosed house size of 40% of the footprint of the principal dwelling unit, and the owner seeks relief from this provision to permit a maximum size of 71.2% of the footprint of the principal dwelling. In this photo on the screen is a view of the subject property from Water Street. The area in green is the proposed location of the coach house, and the access to Water Street will be from this same side. With respect to public and agency correspondence, we have received one phone call from an adjacent resident. The resident did not have concerns regarding the overall proposal, only a minor concern regarding the location of the proposed development, and that it is proposed to be located closer to the street line than the existing dwelling. Their preference would be that the proposed development be in line with the existing dwelling. Staff have received additional correspondence that was included this afternoon as an addendum from a neighboring property owner identifying the same concern. As mentioned earlier, the applicant is currently reviewing a possible shift of the proposed development so that it is located behind the established building line. Regarding agency correspondence, the Region of Waterloo is requesting a site servicing plan to show how the internal servicing will work, as the proposed development will be required to connect to the existing municipal services from the principal dwelling. The engineering department will require a revised grading plan, and planning staff are still awaiting comments from other circulated agencies. Staff recommends that all comments and correspondence received from members of the public and government agencies through the consultation process be returned to staff for a future report to the committee on the disposition of this matter. And staff will be considering matters including all comments and correspondence received, whether the development meets the criteria of the 4 tests for minor variance, further review of any proposed amendments to the development proposal, including the potential relocation of the development to align with the existing dwelling. And in addition, staff have identified additional considerations related to Ontario Regulation 299-19 with respect to additional residential units. Specifically, Section 5 regarding urban residential parcels permits up to 45% lot coverage for all buildings and structures, which may impact the need for certain variances. The Township zoning bylaw currently limits accessory buildings to a maximum size of 60 square meters, which differs from the provincial regulation. So further review is required to determine how this regulation applies, and staff will assess its implications before finalizing a recommendation. Any necessary adjustments will be reflected as part of the future staff report. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. So the applicant, we have Mark Levin and Jackie Hart. Would you like to come up to the Margaret's going to come up? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor and councillors. My name is Margaret Plagan, and I'm the owner of 61 Water Street in there. And we propose to build a coach house well back from the lining up of the principal residence, and we received approval from GRCA to do that. So of course, the requirement is that you can build up to 40% of the footprint of the principal residence. And we had an architectural drawing made up for that size, and we found that it didn't really meet our needs, and I'll address that shortly. As it was previously mentioned, the proposed coach house is 71.2% of the footprint. And we need it to be this size for many reasons. Now, in designing the coach house, we had to look at what our long-term needs would be well after I pass on. Because after I'm gone, then my daughter-in-law's parents have the option to move in. And after that, it would be my son and his wife. And so we want to keep the property for many generations in the family. If it was just for me, I'd only need a single bed, and that would be fine with me. But if these other couples are moving in, then we need space for a queen size bed. So, the most important consideration for us is to make it wheelchair accessible. Because as we age, inevitably, we end up in wheelchairs. And we want to avoid going into a nursing home. So not only does it have to be wheelchair accessible, that also means that we need extra wide doors. That takes up extra space. The bathroom is exceptionally large by bathroom standards because you need a turning circle to rotate 360 degrees around. And that requires a 5-foot diameter of space. So 5 times 5 feet is 25 square feet of extra space in that bathroom. So that's one reason for a really big bathroom. The second reason is the shower area has to be larger. Because it'll be a walk-in shower, it'll have a built-in bench, and it'll have no doors, so the wheelchair can enter, so that a person can be transported from the wheelchair to the bench. As I mentioned earlier, the bathroom needs to be a little bit bigger. It needs to be up to accommodate a queen size bed. You also need a turning circle in the bedroom. That's another 25 square feet of space. Also, you need a 4-foot wide path of unobstructions to travel along the bedside. The original floor plan that we did for 40% said that they would put in a stackable washer and dryer. When I looked at that, I said, well, that won't work because I can't reach the dryer. So it needs to be side by side. So again, that requires more space. The Act in Ontario that regulates wheelchair accessibility says that in order to make a 180-degree turn around an object, that requires a 5-foot wide turning space all the way around. And we need many turning spaces in our coach house. We've compromised in other areas to save on space, and I can enumerate those for you if you wish. But these compromises were done to make more room for wheelchair navigation throughout the coach house. So in summing up, we need several turning circles. We need 180-degree turns around objects. We need 4-foot wide barrier-free paths for travel. And we need the extra space in all the rooms, particularly in the bathroom. So now I've canvassed my neighbors. I spent a couple of days canvassing the neighborhood, and I've had an overwhelmingly positive response from them. In the 2 days that I went out, I garnered 38 signatures. If you'd like to have a look at that, Madam Mayor,
You can give it to Michael to keep it a part of the record.
okay.
Thank you, Madam.
I could have gotten more, but some people weren't home, others were on vacation. So I could have gotten quite a few more, but it's been very positive in my community. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret. Councilors, any questions? Seeing none. Okay. Is there any question from the public?
There's more people.
Oh, Amanda Nixon? Nastiger. Oh, Nastiger, did you? Welcome.
Thank you.
Good to see you back there. Phones in the way.
Hi, I'm Amanda Nassiger, and I am the owner of 63 Water Street. Margaret has been my neighbor for about a decade now. We have a good working relationship as neighbors. I do have a few questions. I'm just curious, so the zoning bylaw regulations state that the second dwelling on the property needs to be subordinate in size, and as per the drawings, it's about 200 well, that we're going beyond, but it's actually bigger than her current dwelling if you add the garage and the house together. So I'm just curious if the now attached garage is classified as part of that dwelling, or if it is a separate dwelling, or what the rules are in regards to that.
Michael, can you answer that?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I will say that that is correct. The coach house is intended to be subordinate. Staff are reviewing that as part of our review of this application, and will speak to that in the future recommendation.
Thank you. Go
I'd
ahead.
also like to know how far from the lot line this building is intended to be built.
Do we know that yet, Michael?
Through you, Madam Mayor, I believe from the property line, it's approximately 7.39 meters.
Thank you.
And also, the setbacks from the side yard and the street.
Through you, Madam Mayor, the setback to the interior side yard looks to be at its closest point 2.72 meters.
And the street.
The street from the frontage of Water Street, 7.39.
And my other question is, I know that they had just said that, they would like to continue to keep it in their family, but I do have concerns about using that as a rental property in the future. I'm not sure if that is something that's going to be an open market rental, or if it will indeed end up, just staying within their family. Like, I do understand that people age, they pass away. We don't know how long we're going to tarry on this earth for. So, if that building is, are they telling me that the building would be completely empty if Margaret does pass on, or will that be heading to the open market?
CEO McNeely.
So, Madam Mayor, just to clarify, any ancillary dwelling unit or additional dwelling unit under provincial regulation in urban area, every residential property that allows a single detached, semi-detached, or townhouse dwelling, as of right, is eligible for up to 3 dwelling units, principal, and 2 additional dwelling units. It does not speak to who would occupy those additional dwelling units. Province of Ontario, part of their housing action supply strategy, is trying to create subtle changes to density in established neighborhoods to encourage housing supply, whether it be for family members, rental market. They're not differentiated, so there will be no restrictions as to who occupies the space today or tomorrow. The question will be, its siting on the property, its relationship to adjacent properties, and its ability to service services.
Okay, so there is no guarantee.
The province of Ontario, as of right, across all urban areas, they do not distinguish who occupies the space, and the municipality has no control over who would reside in the space.
Okay, I also have one last question. So as I was looking at the, Margaret has explained that she wants to have everything wheelchair accessible, which I have no problems for. Like, I know you need space. I'm a nurse. I know what it's like to have to live in your own home and need it to be wheelchair accessible, and the problems it is when you don't have that ability. My concern is that I'm looking at her diagram in regards to the garage. I'm not sure why there would be such a large garage needed on that property, if this is catering to wheelchair ability. And also, in every single entrance to get in there, there is stairs located. So I'm not sure. My concern is not the coach house, it's mostly the garage that's attached to it. It's a pretty big building for that house, is my other concern, but besides that, I have no other further comments.
Thank you. Paul and Heidi Graham.
Madam Mayor, Council, staff, thanks for having us speak today. Just to start off, we fully support what Margaret and her family want to do with the property, place for her. It's the right thing to do. Our only concern, as per the email they sent, I think it's part of the public record, is that property, the new coach house being in front of the dwelling, and I've heard what was said here before. We're very concerned on Water Street. We're a new, actually, resident of Water Street, we're very concerned about the changes and the properties changing and dwellings being added. I know we did a fairly major renovation to our property and added on the garage. My wife really wanted a larger garage, but we were very cognizant of this bringing out to the property line. So that is our number one issue. It's just, there's about 30 odd houses on the street. There's all of them apply to that today. And it's an older neighborhood. And I think it's important that it stays looking as it does. So we just want to keep it kind of where it is. We don't really want to press it and establish that. Other than that, you're absolutely wrong.
Thank you. So anyone else wish in your comments? Councilors. Councilor Bowman.
Sorry, Madam Mayor. The,
Sorry.
Sorry. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to
We
discuss
need
the,
things.
oh, Jackie Hart, sorry. I just wanted to discuss the garage a little bit in terms of Amanda's concerns as to why it's so large. So I know she was saying, in terms of wheelchair accessibility, why would you need a garage? So my concern is Margaret would need to be transported instead of hiring a taxi to come to Air. So we were thinking wheelchair van, how much room do you need for a wheelchair van? They come out about 5 feet. If it's in the back, and again, 5 feet in the side, and you need that 4-foot clearance to walk beside the vehicle. So that is why the garage is so large. I just wanted to make sure you're all aware, because I would like to still transport my mother-in-law instead of, again, hiring a taxi to transport her. So, thank you.
Councilor Bowman.
Madam Mayor, I think this is a great project. I think it's the kind of project that we want to encourage. Looking at Colonial Drive and Water Street area, a lot of the lots are quite large. The houses are quite small by today's standards. So we have a house that typically by today's standards would be 3 times as big. So the whole percentage idea about being 40% of the original house, I'm not sure how relevant that is, because if the houses were built to today's standards, houses would be 3 times as big as they are. So I'm kind of dubious about that one. The other thing is, in terms of the streetscape, we discussed Water Street quite a bit versus other lots, and we want to make sure that all the building is behind the established building line. So I would agree with what the grads are saying, what Phil said, is let's keep this coach house and garage development back as far as we can behind the established line, so we're not changing the streetscape. I realize that infill is going to come to the whole neighborhood. A lot of these large lots is going to happen more and more, but if we set a precedent now of keeping the buildings back from the street the way they are currently set up, I think that'll make for a more pleasing streetscape.
I just am curious, you opened my eyes, Margaret. I'm in a wheelchair every night. So, I take my leg off and make blind draw the book. But, yeah, you need that radius. I've left more doors and stuff, but anyways. We've never put that into the, plan. Have we, in dealing with an accessory building, that if it is wheelchair accessible? CEO McNeely?
Madam Mayor, what occurs is under the building code. So if a space is designed or intended for wheelchair accessibility or barrier-free movement, then the code specifies the minimums, whether it be the width of the door, returning radii, let's say in the bathroom, as examples. So not every space has to be deemed barrier-free, but if the intent is to make it barrier-free, then the code establishes what those dimensions are.
So if that happens, then the building is allowed to be slightly different in size to accommodate the accessibility?
Madam Mayor, would be part of that assessment in terms of the merits of, in this case, perhaps increased coverage or square footage of the building in the relationship to the principal dwelling. And that's all part of that analysis.
Thank you. And one other thing, Margaret, if you're gonna make it wheelchair accessible, you have to have special types of floors in. You have to have special type of flooring because the wheelchair rips up the floors.
Yeah.
So I just sent the heads up. Yeah. So if I see no other comments, Councillor Tilly, go ahead.
Just, maybe it's just my eyes here. The transition from the garage to the house, you have to go outside to go into the house?
Yes.
Okay, that's understandable, like porches and stuff done, but just
Well-
noticing it, yeah.
If I may speak.
Margaret, go ahead.
That design was based on the fact that we had to move the coach house forward in the original design, when it was set back, we had a covered porch going right around, it was wrapped around, and it was covered right to the garage. Now that we are able to move it back, we're gonna go back to that design for protection from the.
Thank you, Mom. Any other questions? Councillor Tilly, you have the motion, please.
Moved by myself, second by Derek Osner, that PD report number 19/2025 be received, and that all comments and correspondence received through the consultation process be returned to staff for consideration and future report to the committee on disposition of this matter.
All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. You can stay, the rest of it's riveting, but you don't have to sleep.
Yeah, well, Mark, you might want to run for council after being here.
I'm not well versed enough to.
You're gonna- Have a good night.
There's not enough chairs here.
Next is reports on minor variance in consent application 6.6.1, reporting of obedient 2025 minor variance application for 14 Queen Street, file number A-01/25. Notice has been given in accordance with the Plan Act. The Secretary Treasurer will keep a record of all persons who provide comments on this application and those who register with the Police Department to request a notice of decision. Those individuals will be notified of the decision or the convening of any future meetings on this application. Christina Glasgow, Planner 1 GSI, technician will present the report. Christina, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The following presentation for minor variance application A01/25 for the property located at 14 Queen Street. Purpose of this meeting is to advance a recommendation for the committee's consideration on the merits of the application. The property is located on the east side of Queen Street, south of Victoria Street, and north of Albert Street in the Branston Settlement area. Property consists of a two-story single detached dwelling and accessory buildings. This property is approximately a half acre in size with a lot frontage of 36.7 meters onto Queen Street. Surrounding land uses are primarily rural residential. This property is on Z3 rural residential and designated settlement residential and ancillary in the township official plan. The owner proposes to facilitate the construction of a detached garage adjacent to the principal dwelling with a new driveway access. The garage will be 7.31 meters by 9.75 meters in size with a total area of approximately 71.4 square meters. The proposed building height of the accessory garage will be 5.23 meters and will slightly exceed the maximum permitted building height. The subject property currently contains 3 accessory buildings. With the addition of the proposed garage, the total floor area of all accessory buildings will exceed the maximum lot coverage of 4% permitted by the general zoning bylaw. As part of this application, the owner is seeking additional variances to address existing non-compliances for the other accessory buildings, bringing the property into conformity with the zoning bylaw. The owner is requesting the following variances. Section 6.4.1 establishes that no person shall erect any accessory building within a required side yard. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit an existing accessory building along the northern property line to be located within the required side yard setback of the principal dwelling and have a setback of 1.1 meters. Section 6.4.2 establishes that no person shall erect any accessory building closer than 1 meter from an interior lot line. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit an existing accessory building to have a setback of 0.5 meters. Section 8.3.7a permits a maximum floor area of 4% for all accessory buildings located on the property. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit a maximum floor area of 5.2% for all accessory buildings. And lastly, section 8.3.7b permits a maximum building height of 5.2 meters for accessory buildings. The owner seeks relief from this provision to permit a building height of 5.23 meters for the proposed detached garage. The photo on the screen is a view of the subject property from Queen Street. The area in green is the proposed location of the detached garage. To the left is a principal dwelling, and to the rear 2 existing accessory buildings, one of which is seeking a reduced setback. The photo on the screen is a view of the north side of the property from Queen Street. As you can see, there is an existing accessory building located within the required side yard setback for the dwelling. One piece of correspondence was received from the adjacent property located at 1644 Branchton Road. The resident had advised that their property experiences drainage issues and requested further review of the proposed development and the potential impact of drainage on their properties. The township's engineering department has advised that the existing drainage concerns raised by the owner of 1644 Branchton Road are due to previous renovations completed by the homeowner and are not a result of runoff from 14 Queen Street. Additionally, the engineering department has reviewed the proposed grading plan and has requested an infiltration gallery at the rear of the proposed garage to help mitigate any additional water flow and prevent it from impacting 1644 Branchton Road. Planning staff had recommended that a condition be imposed requiring a revised grading plan to the satisfaction of the township's engineering department before a building permit is issued. The township is currently working with the applicant and their engineer to explore alternative solutions that meet the requirements of the engineering department. There have been no concerns received from any external agencies. The township's engineering and public works department had requested a revised grading plan that includes an infiltration gallery, dry well, or similar solution to manage additional drainage generated by the development. As mentioned on the previous slide, planning staff are imposing a condition to ensure this is addressed, and the applicant is currently working on a solution that meets the engineering department's requirement. Planning staff is of the opinion that the requested variances meet the four tests of the minor variance as outlined by the Planning Act. The first being that the variance is minor in nature. The increased accessory building height and lot coverage are minimal, and the reduced side yard setbacks will not create negative impacts on neighboring properties. Second, that the variance is desirable. The construction of the garage is appropriate for the residential use of the land. It enhances the functionality of the property while keeping with the character of the area. Third, that the variance meets the intent of the bylaw. The proposed variances for reduced side yard setbacks and increased accessory building height and lot coverage should not compromise the general purpose of the zoning bylaw. And the proposed detached garage is a permitted use within the rural residential zone. And lastly, that the variance meets the intent of the official plan. This property is designated for low density residential. The proposed garage maintains a primary residential use and aligns with the neighborhood's low density residential character. Planning staff recommend that minor variance application 801/25 be approved subject to the following condition: that the owner provide a revised grading plan addressing the comments by the engineering department to the satisfaction of the township's engineering and building departments. The owner must provide the revised grading plan prior to the township building department issuing a building permit. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Would the applicant like to speak? No? Okay, and any members of the public that I can't see? No? Any members of the council have questions? Councilor Tilly?
Just in regards to, and I spoke briefly with the CBO yesterday, and just speaking on behalf of a bit of the homeowners, just looking at the property grading, I know the concern is that there's potentially some drainage back towards Branchton Road, but it appears to me to be draining not to that way, but draining to the other side. And I could see why the other homeowners are concerned that there would be potential drainage towards their place, but if the natural landscape kind of conveys the water to another direction, would that additional cost be necessary if it's naturally draining in a different direction? I'm sorry, I'm just throwing out an idea here just for on behalf of the homeowner.
Christina? Michael?
Through you, Madam Mayor, we had reviewed this with our engineering department. They provided their professional opinion on this, and we are awaiting a response from the engineer from the applicant. We'll review alternative solutions, and if there is one, then we will consider that. If it works for the site and it means that an infiltration gallery is required, then we're happy to do that. I think we're just taking precaution. Our engineering and public works department is not wanting to have a situation where we are impacting. So, but we will review the options, and if it works, then we're happy to accommodate.
Good answer. Thank you, Michael. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Seeing none, can I have the motion, please, Councilor Williams? Move on to jackpot.
Moved by myself, by Council Williams, that B report number 20-2025 be received, and that minor variance application A-0125 be request to permit an existing accessory building along the northern property lines to be located within required side yard setback of the principal dwelling and have a setback of 1.1 meters or 2.6 feet whereas section 6.4.1 of general zoning bylaw 689-83 establishes that no person shall erect any accessory building in the required side yard. B, an existing accessory building to have a setback of 0.5 meters or 1.6 square feet, whereas section 6.4.2 of general zoning bylaw 689-83 establishes that no person shall erect any accessory building closer than 1 meter or 3 feet from any interior lot line. C, a maximum floor area of 5.2% for all accessory buildings, whereas section 8.3.7A of general zoning bylaw 689-83 permits a maximum floor area of 4% for all accessory buildings located on the property. And D, a building height of 5.23 meters or 17 feet 2 inches for the proposed detached garage, whereas section 8.3.7B of general zoning bylaw 689-83 permits a maximum building height of 5.2 meters or 17 feet for accessory buildings. Be approved, subject to the following condition: 1, that the owner provide a revised grading plan addressing the comments by the Engineering and Public Works Department to the satisfaction of the Township's engineering and building departments. The owner must provide revised grading plan prior to the Township Building Department issuing the building permit.
All those in favor? Karen, thank you. Adjustment, please, Councilor Williams.
Moved by myself, seconded by Derek Osner, that pursuant to the Planning Act, public meeting of the Committee of Adjustment be adjourned at 6:46 p.m.
All those in favor? Karen, thank you. Councilor Oxner, the bylaws, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Tilly, that the following bylaws be read a first and second time. Bylaw number 3553-25 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at this meeting held March 25th, 2025.
All those in favor? Karen, thank you. And the third reading of the bylaw, please.
Moved by myself, second by Councilor Ockner, that bylaw number 3553-25 be read a third and final time to time sealed by the mayor and clerk.
All those in favor? Karen, thank you. Hand that over to Councilor Oxner, please. Can you join me, Councilor Nolan, please?
By myself and by Councilor Osner, that whereas business before the council planning public meeting has been completed at 6:47 p.m. and the result is the meeting again.
You can sign again.
All those in favor? Karen, thank you.
Is it?